Long before she became a household name in morning television, Robin Roberts was just a tenacious young girl growing up along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. A standout on the basketball court, a driven student, and the daughter of a Tuskegee airman, her early life was already steeped in discipline and ambition. She was the youngest of four, raised with faith, fire, and the quiet grit of a close-knit Southern family. Her journey from small-town athlete to one of America's most beloved news anchors is nothing short of remarkable. But behind the camera lights and polished delivery was a woman who would face devastating medical diagnoses, personal tragedies, and shocking betrayals in the very industry she helped elevate. This is the story of triumphs shadowed by heartbreak, and the strength it takes to smile through it all. Rising strong, from courtside dreams to the ESPN stage, Robin Roberts' story began in a place where grit was a way of life and community ties were everything. Born on November 23, 1960, in Tuskegee, Alabama, she was the youngest of four children in a military family rooted in pride and purpose. Her father, Colonel Lawrence E. Roberts, was one of the famed Tuskegee Airmen, African-American pilots who broke barriers during World War II. Her mother, Lucy Marion Roberts, was the first in her family to attend college and became a beacon of quiet resilience. These influences laid the groundwork for Robin's approach to life, disciplined, driven, and deeply grounded in faith. Robin's childhood in Pass Christian, Mississippi, a small coastal town where everybody knew your name and sports were sacred, was filled with healthy competition and high expectations. She was a fierce and fearless competitor on the tennis courts and basketball courts, but what made her truly stand out was her refusal to let her athletic talents overshadow her academic ambitions. While many high school athletes coasted on physical ability, Robin hit the books with the same intensity she brought to the game. She graduated in 1979 as salutatorian of Pass Christian High School, already showing signs of the balance that would come to define her career. Her next move, however, was unexpected. Robin was offered a basketball scholarship to Louisiana State University, an impressive offer by any standard, but upon visiting the campus, she felt a deep sense of disconnect. Something didn't feel right. It was too big, too impersonal. And so, in a moment that would change her life, she took a detour. Driving past Southeastern Louisiana University in Hammond, she made an impulsive decision to stop and take a tour. The atmosphere was intimate, the energy welcoming. Though the basketball scholarships were already taken, a tennis scholarship was still available. She took it. Robin's athleticism soon landed her a spot on Southeastern's women's basketball team. There, she became a standout. By the time she graduated, she had scored 1,446 points and recorded 1,034 rebounds, placing her among the top three in the school's history in both categories. In recognition of her legacy, Southeastern Louisiana retired her number 21 jersey in 2011, an honor few receive. Her time on the court taught her invaluable lessons: how to lead under pressure, how to lose with grace, and how to always keep going. Robin graduated cum laude in 1983 with a degree in communication, her passion for sports now matched by a growing fascination with media. She began her broadcasting career at WDAM-TV in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, working as a full-time news anchor, but her heart was still with sports. Within months, she transitioned to weekend sports anchor at the same station. Though the position paid less and lacked prestige, it gave her the adrenaline and purpose she craved. From there, her climb was steady but never easy. She moved through small markets: WXVT in Greenville, Mississippi, WSMV in Nashville, Tennessee, and WAGA in Atlanta, Georgia. In each newsroom, she honed her skills, learning to write tighter scripts, ask sharper questions, and deliver with confidence. She was often the only woman in the sports department, and sometimes the only black journalist in the room. Yet her authenticity, intelligence, and quiet confidence made her impossible to ignore. Finally, in 1990, Robin's persistence paid off. She landed a job at ESPN, every sports journalist's dream. She began as a co-anchor for SportsCenter, quickly becoming a favorite with viewers. Her coverage was smart, fresh, and genuine, and she brought a human touch to a world often dominated by stats and bravado. She later joined NFL Primetime, one of the network's flagship programs. By the mid-90s, Robin Roberts wasn't just reporting on games, she was changing the game itself. Breaking through, Good Morning America and a national spotlight. By the mid-1990s, Robin Roberts had already carved out a respected niche for herself as a trailblazing sports journalist at ESPN. But in 1995, another opportunity came knocking, one that would take her far beyond the world of box scores and game day recaps. ABC's Good Morning America invited her to make guest appearances as a sports contributor. It seemed like a natural extension of her skills, but what happened next was anything but ordinary. Roberts quickly proved she was more than just a talking head for sports segments. Her natural warmth, empathy, and conversational ease allowed her to connect with viewers on a level that transcended reporting. Whether she was breaking down a major sports moment or interviewing an athlete about personal struggles, she brought a sense of authenticity that stood out in the highly competitive world of morning television. Her segments were more than just informative. They were emotional touchpoints for millions of viewers starting their day. Throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s, her presence on Good Morning America grew more frequent and more impactful. She wasn't just covering sports anymore. She was stepping into human interest stories, special reports, and eventually anchoring duties. In 2005, she was officially named co-anchor of GMA, joining an anchor team that included the legendary Diane Sawyer and political journalist George Stephanopoulos. Her promotion came at a pivotal time for the show, which had long played second fiddle to NBC's Today in the ratings. But Roberts helped change that narrative. With her at the desk, Good Morning America underwent a renaissance. Viewers responded to her poise, honesty, and the sense that she was one of them, someone who had earned her seat not just through talent, but through perseverance. Within a few years, the show finally overtook Today to become the #1 morning program in the country, a milestone it had never achieved before. Roberts didn't just contribute to that success, she embodied it. One of the most defining moments of her early years on GMA came in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina ripped through the Gulf Coast. Roberts returned to her hometown of Pass Christian, Mississippi, to report from the devastation. What began as a journalistic assignment quickly turned personal. Standing amid the wreckage, Roberts broke down on camera. Her family's home had been badly damaged. The community she grew up in was in ruins. In that vulnerable moment, America didn't just see a polished broadcaster. They saw a daughter, a neighbor, a human being. Rather than harm her credibility, that moment solidified it. Viewers saw in her what they rarely saw in TV anchors, someone who didn't hide behind the news, but lived it alongside them. Her ability to remain professional while expressing raw, heartfelt emotion marked a new chapter in American broadcast journalism, one where sincerity was not only accepted, but revered. That same year, Roberts launched Rockin' Robin Productions, a media company dedicated to producing content that inspires and uplifts. The company became an extension of her mission to tell stories that matter, stories that might otherwise go unheard. Under her leadership, the company created compelling specials like Robin Roberts Presents, Mahalia, a biopic on gospel legend Mahalia Jackson, and Tuskegee Airmen, Legacy of Courage, a documentary that honored her father's historic contributions as one of the first African-American military pilots during World War II. Roberts didn't stop at television. She also became a prolific author, using her personal experiences to craft books filled with motivation, resilience, and practical wisdom. Her transition into children's literature, such as Bedtime Bear's Big Surprise, reflected her belief in instilling values of kindness, courage, and hope in the next generation. By the late 2000s, Robin Roberts had become much more than a journalist. She was a symbol of grace under pressure, a bridge between celebrity and everyday life, and a beacon of light for viewers across the country. Through every segment, every tear, every laugh, and every heartfelt moment, she had earned not just a place on television, but a place in the hearts of millions. Fighting Forward, the cancer diagnosis that changed everything. In August 2007, just as her star was shining brightest, Robin Roberts revealed a heartbreaking diagnosis: breast cancer. She broke the news in a personal essay for ABC News, explaining how the death of fellow journalist Joel Siegel had inspired her to conduct a self-examination. That decision may have saved her life. A lump was found, and the results confirmed her worst fears. Roberts underwent surgery, followed by 8 grueling rounds of chemotherapy and nearly 2 months of radiation therapy. During treatment, she admitted feeling disconnected from herself and the world around her. "I wasn't present," she confessed to Cancer Connect. "One of the most painful parts was losing her hair. But in a bold move that inspired countless viewers, Roberts ditched her wig on air in April 2008 and proudly showed her bald head. Later, she chose to shave it entirely, taking back control. "I decided. Cancer didn't. Chemo didn't. I did that," she said. "As a survivor, I have a sense of responsibility." Roberts became a vocal advocate for early detection and patient empowerment. But her battle was far from over. 5 years later, in 2012, she received another crushing blow. This time, it was myelodysplastic syndrome, or MDS, a rare blood cancer likely triggered by her earlier cancer treatment. Her doctors told her she had only a year or 2 to live if she didn't receive a bone marrow transplant. The chances of finding a match were slim, but hope came in the form of her sister, Sally Ann, who turned out to be a perfect match, braving the storm: loss, transplant, and an unshakable will. In August 2012, the same week Robin was preparing for her life-saving transplant, her mother Lucy Marion fell gravely ill. Robin started her medical leave early, navigating flooded roads in the aftermath of Tropical Storm Isaac, just to be by her mother's bedside. On August 30th, Lucy Marion passed away. Devastated, Robin returned to New York to undergo an intensive 10-day chemotherapy regimen before the bone marrow transplant. In a later interview, she admitted feeling spiritually detached from the experience. In another place. But her sister's selfless gift gave her a second chance at life. Roberts kept cameras rolling throughout much of her treatment, transforming her struggle into a public education campaign. Viewers responded in droves. In just one day, the Bone Marrow Registry Be the Match saw a staggering 1,800% increase in new donors. Her return to GMA on February 20th, 2013, was a triumph of will and love. "I have been waiting 174 days to say this. Good morning, America," she declared. The episode drew more than 6.1 million viewers, the highest since the 2012 presidential election. Later that year, Roberts received the Arthur Ashe Courage Award at the ESPYs and was honored with a Peabody Award for her openness and advocacy. But even amid accolades, the grief lingered. In a 2021 interview, Roberts reflected on her mother's absence. "I think she'd be cheering me on from her heavenly balcony," she said. It was a poetic thought for someone who had fought so hard to come back from the brink, both for herself and in memory of those she loved. Confronting injustice, betrayals, racism, and industry battles. Behind the polished smiles and morning banter, Robin Roberts has quietly faced deep injustice within the industry she helped shape. In June 2020, former ABC News executive Barbara Fedida was placed on leave after reportedly making racially insensitive remarks about Roberts during salary negotiations. The network later confirmed the allegations, and Fedida was terminated. Though Roberts did not comment publicly at the time, she had spoken years earlier about the subtle and overt racism she encountered early in her career. In a 2007 NPR interview, she admitted it was difficult getting hired at all, despite her credentials. Her father's legacy as a Tuskegee Airman and her mother's determination to attend Howard University fueled her forward. Even her work relationships came under strain. In 2021, reports emerged of a private rift between Roberts and co-anchor George Stephanopoulos over ABC's handling of a sexual misconduct lawsuit involving former GMA producer Michael Korn. Roberts was allegedly furious at how the situation unfolded and expressed her frustration in a conference call, saying, "If this happened to someone on my team, I would have burned the place down." Though both parties later denied ongoing tension, the incident exposed the emotional weight she carried behind the scenes. The moments of friction only deepened her resolve. Whether battling disease, grieving loved ones, or standing up for what's right, Robin Roberts never wavered. She didn't just survive the system, she challenged it, reshaped it, and demanded better for those coming behind her. Robin Roberts has weathered more storms than most of us will ever face in a lifetime. Her story is one of determination, heartbreak, and grace under pressure.